Hey, good afternoon, everyone. It's Trackman 44. You know, I tell you all the time, sometimes I forget to even start a video until we got a project about half done, and that's kind of what's going on today. There's been a change in our situation around here about butchering for ourselves. Now, my brother and I have been butchering for decades. There's been some changes this year as far as our butchering is concerned. You know, and we have to admit, you know, we're getting a little bit older. You know, my much older brother is 12 years older than I am, and he's got, you know, his feet bother him just like mine do, you know. We both have a little bit of a mental issue. But at any rate, we've decided that, you know, it's just time to bring everything to a halt as far as getting the big groups together and do it all over in his basement and everything. So what we're doing is we're relocating the services, so to speak, over to my place. This year just messed up for everybody. Everybody's pretty much on their own. So this will be the first time we've not had family butchering together well before I was born. But next year, we're gonna go right back to the same thing, but on a much smaller scale. I've got a nephew. It's actually my much older brother's youngest son. He's become the head butcher. You've seen him in a lot of the videos. But what we're going to do is we're going to go back next year to where Andrew and myself are going to be the ones involved in the butchering. We're not going to have the big extended family things anymore. You know, we're just getting too old, and it's just a brutal day, especially if we're doing 3 beef in a day. You know, it's just heck on us. 5 hogs in a day is even pretty tough on us, you know. So if you can tell, looking behind me, I've got our walk-in cooler from over my brother's house on the back of my trailer, and I'm getting ready to relocate it down here. Come along with me and I'll start the video now that we're almost done with the project. And I got busted by the missus. She just come in the driveway. There's a trusty old 85 Ford F-250. I put a 1-ton 350 dually under it and then put that flatbed on it and everything. And of course the homemade gooseneck trailer. And then there's that Landshire refrigerated bed on top of the trailer. That bed is 8 by 8 by 14 foot in length, and the refrigeration unit hangs out the back side. Now, when we got the opportunity to get this, and then we brought it home, my brother did a lot of work to the bed, you know, to make it serviceable for our use. And then, of course, he used these I-beams here and made these runners or these sleds, and then put tow hooks on the front where you could hook onto it and drag it around with a tractor or whatever. And so that's what we went ahead, hooked onto, and went ahead and drew up on there with that 12,000-pound Badlands winch. So the son-in-law came home from work just about in time to help me back it down the hill and around the corner. So we got her in just about the location it's going to be for the unload. But there it sits, right where it's going to be going. It does have an R22 medium temp refrigeration unit hanging off the backside. So, you know, we got to protect that. And of course, the top of this is also fiberglass. So we don't want trees, you know, branches and sticks like that, you know, dropping and setting on it, you know. So we're want to do it upright for temporary anyway. It'll get us by for this season, and we'll do something different, maybe a little bit better for next year. But there's that 12,000-pound Badlands. I went ahead and built this little rain shield for it, even though it has an underwater rating on that winch. It's a pretty doggone good winch. I had to put the remote kit on it in order to get it to where it would mount in the confines that I had at the location. But we did go ahead and use a snatch block just to keep from putting undue strain on the relays and stuff that are inside this, just make it a much easier pull. I'm going to be unloading this off of the trailer today. I'm going to try to get it all on video. Bear with me. I should have some way to mechanically move it other than the way I'm going to do it. I know better, but I'm going to do it anyway, simply because that's the way we do things. I'm going to get. What I don't get, I'll tell you about. It's going to be fun. There ain't no doubt about it, I guarantee you. I don't know what this thing weighs. The heavy portion is the I-beam skids and everything, you know, that my much older brother actually fabricated for the underneath, the underbelly, that used to be attached to the frame of the truck, you know, that it came off of. So, you know, that's good. It's not top heavy. It's the weight's down low. Because I've got a 33-inch deck height on the trailer, the precarious part of it is going to be once it comes over the dovetail and breaks over. That's where we're going to lose control, if we lose any control whatsoever. I've got 8-inch channel iron ramps that I made years and years ago for another trailer. I'm hopefully going to be able to just barely creep it right over center and lower it down and pull it that way. The main thing is I want it to go slow. I do not want it to go fast. The issue, however, is maintaining control of the front of the unit, which is now the back of the unit for all intents and purposes here, because I need to maintain control of that so that it doesn't get away. If once it drops over, it wants to cock sideways one way or the other, it can actually throw it into my shed. So therein lies the disclaimer. Don't do as I say and don't do as I do. Ain't too many guys with good sense that you can do what I'm going to do right here. But hey, it is what it is, or it will be what it will be. Okay, now what we have here is an immovable object, In this case, the skid loader with the bucket jammed into the ground. It's also got a little bit of pressure against that John Deere, but that's not going to help all that much. But we got the immovable object connected to the movable object. Now if you take a look, you'll see we have a multi-part line hooked up. We've got a snatch block here hooked onto the cooler, which is going to be responsible for pulling that away. But if you take a look up here, we're going to double the output of the rig by setting the another snatch block right here, which comes back here all the way to the winch. So the way it works is the winch is back there pulling on that cable just like normal. It goes through the first snatch block up here. It goes through the first snatch block, comes back through that snatch block, hooks onto this snatch block here, or goes through, passes through this snatch block, and goes back to the immovable object. Now you can see I got a little bit of tension on it because I wanted to take the slack out of it, have it nice and pretty sitting there so I could pull the trigger and see if it's going to move any. In this case, friction is going to be our friend and our enemy. I want that to move very, very slowly. I don't want it to be jerky, but I think because of the amount of friction, it's going to take off with the lunge, but it's only going to go a short distance, so I'll turn loose the trigger. The friction is good because we need it to hold it in place and come down slow, but it's bad because it makes one heck of an extra pull. Now I've shifted my attachment point up here, uphill a little bit, to shift it back on the trailer a little bit straighter. Oh hey, and for your information, this is not a cable, it's a synthetic rope rated at 12,000 pounds. I've got to go up front and see how close to the balance point it is. See that little shift? I don't like that. I've got to go back to hook on the center. Now I can only go so much farther. My snatch blocks are going to come together. I'm going to have the back end of it where it needs to go. Then I'm going to have to very gently pull the trailer out from under it. to undo the rigging and wind the winch all the way back up, but leave the cooler tied to the front of the skid loader, and now I'm going to go ahead and gently slip out from under it, dragging my ramps right along with it. So there you have it, guys. No muss, no fuss, no broken bones. Didn't even get a splinter. It's on the ground safely. That's all that matters. And it's in a temporary position. It's going to have to live for just a short period of time. Now I've got to go about the business of building a temporary enclosure just to keep it off the elements, because the fiberglass roof and of course obviously the refrigeration unit off the back side. I'll have to go ahead and wire this in because we got a half a beef coming here very shortly. I'll go ahead and get this thing wired in and start working on my temporary cover. And so I hope y'all enjoyed that. And remember, as I always say, do not do as I say, and definitely in a case like this, do not do what I do. All's well that ends well, and this ended well. And this is Tractor Man 44, and I am out of here, guys.